We explain the news on 938 Live.
Welcome into the Breakfast Club on 938 Live. I'm Keith de Souza. Competitiveness of almost all Asian countries is stagnating, and this is according to the World Economic Forum's Global Competitive Report 2015 to 2016, and just released very recently, about 2 weeks ago, I believe. In fact, a Gallup survey earlier on the state of the global workplace, published in October 2013, indicated high percentages of actively disengaged workers in Asia compared to Western countries. So we want to find out, why is this so? The answer, we're told, is inadequate leadership styles, especially in Asia, which contributes to worker disengagement and a major factor behind the failure of change programs. So what do organizations do when they eventually hit that proverbial brick wall? Now, we're going to find out from change expert Jean-Francois Cousin. Now, he's the author of a new book called Game Changers at the Circus. We're going to find out from Jean-Francois if you're an autocratic lion, if you're a peace-loving elephant, a nonchalant chimp, or an eager beaver, single-tracked eagle, and a self-centric snake. How does that describe your position in the organization? But first and foremost, before I prattle on too long, Jean-Francois, very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Keith. Also, thanks for inviting me on the program.
Pleasure is always ours. Game Changers at the Circus. Why did you decide to go this route of writing this book? You know, normally people would write a how-to book, a management consultancy kind of book, straight-laced and everything else. But this, you use a fable in order to get your message across. Why did you choose this route?
Well, actually, before I chose that route, Keith, I started writing another serious book on change.
Yes,
and then I got a nice group of senior leaders I've worked with over the years, and they told me when they read it, the manuscript, you know, Jean-Francois, that's solid, interesting, new, but it's just a serious part of you. And we've read so many dry leadership how-to books, you know, so bring on the fun part of you, make us think deeper, connect with our emotions. We take ourselves more than seriously enough already.
Right.
Bring out something new. And then the idea of a fable came, Keith, because fables evoke a lot more than just how-to leadership books, right? They connect with our emotions, our imagination, and we take a distance with our own situation and then can access to greater insight. So I thought, let's go for a fable, and I chose the theme of the circus, partly inspired by Le Cirque du Soleil, with those autocratic lions and other animals.
It sounds like Animal Farm as well in a how-to book. But let's talk about the problem that this World Economic Forum's Global Competitive Report says, that there are actively disengaged workers in Asia. Have you found that before this report even came about?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been working in Asia for 20 years,
Indeed.
Keith, and I've been on both sides, on management side and then on the executive coach side. And yes, I've seen that, and I see the pain of leaders who try everything they can think of to re-engage workers, and they also go and apply change models, and that doesn't work. If employees are disengaged, just applying change models will not work. What is needed is for leaders to reinvent themselves as leaders, so they become inspiring leaders that reignite people's engagement. And the book is about that.
Is the disengagement, is it the fact that we have seen leaders come and go like a revolving door that people realize that, another 2 years and someone else will take place? Is that contributing to this disengagement?
Oh, very much so, yes. And also the fact that the change programs implemented fail recurrently, you know, so people say, well, why do I even care, right? This is going to be another short-lived initiative from the corporate, and I'd better watch from outside, right?
Do they consider it a fad, perhaps? A fad that happens, this is the flavor of the month.
Yes. It can be like that, especially as, like you said, executives are often short-lived in their assignments.
Or high-powered executives.
Or high-powered, yes, definitely. They are on a hot seat, all of them.
Right.
And so I've seen the pain of leaders suffering at the top from their failure at re-engaging their people, and the pain of the people. And I thought, what can I do? And in fact, in countless conversations with CEOs and their teams, I've identified that often they're just couple of steps away from reigniting engagement and reaching far greater outcomes. And we've tried many things and succeeded at some and failed at others, and the book has captured the learning from our successes and failures in this table and the leadership workbook that comes afterwards.
Is it a cultural thing, especially if we're talking about Asia? Is it a cultural thing? Are we resistant to change, which is strange given the fact that it's changing every day? All our surroundings change every day.
Well, there is a cultural factors, I guess, and both favorable and unfavorable. And which one would you like me to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about the unfavorable one.
All right. Okay. Well, just and to keep it simple, maybe I'll mention two. There is this paternalistic mode of management in Asia where you see the traditional figure of the boss.
Sure.
I'm the father, the mother, and I take care of my kids, and I don't want them to do mistakes because mistakes are not good,
Right.
So I'll make sure I follow closely what they do, and then that is a real problem because
is this the overbearing?
It's overbearing, yes, absolutely, Keith. And then it keeps employees as kids not growing because they're not allowed to take initiative, to think differently, to try out their own things, So they're not growing. In fact, there is this fear of mistake hanging around, and that is disengaging people a lot, right? And then another thing is the fact that there is no much genuine collaboration between departments, people, because often managers manage in silos. This is my little kingdom, that's yours, and we have this deal that we don't interfere with each other, right? So people don't collaborate. They don't go for proactively building win-win solutions that serve the organization. They mostly focus on doing things all right in their own department, and that also is disengaging because people feel comfortable in their little department, but not engaged for the greater cause of the organization and not proactively enjoying working with others across the organization.
So why is it then when we do work in these silos and we cause a ripple by bringing someone else in, someone from outside of the organization, then everybody gets shaken up for a while? And what happens after that if this person cannot succeed?
Then what I think you were referring to before, Keith, people become disillusioned, Right. Another fad, another guy, it will last 1.5 years, and then he'll be gone, and so we just gonna watch.
So as long as I can collect my paycheck, why not?
That's right? And then that's the type of motivation we don't want people to come to work with, right? Just collect the paycheck, right? We want to ignite fire from within, and it has to start with igniting fire within leaders themselves, and the book is a lot about that. It's inviting leaders to look deep into themselves, to look at all the talent they've not used yet, and come out giving their best to others and in an authentic manner, in a humble way, because that way then people can trust them again. If they come out authentic, saying when they don't know, when they messed up, saying sorry when it's necessary, then people will think, hey, he's real, she's real. I want to look closely, and maybe I can trust that leader again. Then we have the possibility of a new dynamic of people following the leader. Because
if we change this, if the leader wants to change and motivate, like say, ignite the fire within, how in Asia and in perhaps even in Singapore, we want it done quickly and we want it done immediately, but how long does this process take? Not that much. I will not say it will take the length required to read the book, of course. Of course, yes.
It needs a bit of application.
Indeed.
But basically, I have to say that the book really invites the readers to look deep within themselves and update their self-awareness and become better self-leaders, and also shows very practical things to do right away. So I guess over a period of 2 months, Keith, I think the leader can come up with meaningful change in his or her behaviors and mindset that will trigger people to give him or her a chance again to lead, in fact, and to introduce changes, in fact. So,
before we talk about the 4-step engagement process, which I'm pretty excited about, let's talk about monolithic institutions that we have in Asia right now and getting them to turn around in the light of all the technological changes that are coming up and the challenges they face with technology. The small guys are eating and eroding their competitiveness. And it seems that the small businesses, the small technological startups, have all that verve and energy and ability to satisfy their clients. But the big boys don't get it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you say that. I observe that very much true. So the small guys are agile and collaborative and have this sense of urgency. And the engagement model you were talking about, and we'll explore later, is all about bringing that higher level of agility in companies, making decisions faster and good ones, and involving some people in them, you know. So it's not monolithic, like the guy at the top decides everything. It's regaining some agility for sustainable performance, in fact, and this all starts from the leaders at the top. They need to reinvent their behaviors and mindset to influence everyone else in the organization's behaviors and mindset. And then, yes, they can be a lot more agile and come up with greater performance. That can happen. There are steps that go for that, and it's necessary. As you said, competitiveness is stagnating, engagement levels are down, and the easy part of the growth is over for most of Asia. That's the big thing to keep in mind. So, the small guys have it easier, right? But for big corporations, some things need to change, and it starts with leaders changing their leadership.
We're imbibing the enthusiasm this morning from Jean-Francois Cousin. He's an executive, a global executive coach. Of course, he's the founder and managing director of Greatness Leadership Coaching. He's the author of a new book called Game Changers at the Circus, How Leaders Can Unleash Greatness in Their Organization. The book's available in major bookstores and, of course, online as well. Now, of course, for more information, if you would like it, is head to greatness.coach or head to facebook.com/greatness.coach. We'll come back, talk about the 4 steps to engagement with Jean-Francois in about 2 minutes after an update of the news and, of course, traffic and some bills to pay right here as well. Keep it right here. The Breakfast Club continues.
The news and more on 938 Live.
Hitting a brick wall with your organization, disengaged workers. That's what we're talking about today. And, of course, reigniting the passion at the workplace. We're speaking today with the author of Game Changers at the Circus. The author is Jean-Francois Cousin. Do you face autocratic lions in the workplace? Perhaps there are peace-loving elephants and nonchalant chimps, eager beavers, single-tracked eagles, and self-centered snakes as well. Jean-Francois, welcome back into the program. We were talking about this process of engagement, and you have a 4-step process. How do you engage the disengaged and reinvigorate the disillusioned?
Thanks for the question.
That's right. It's a tall one.
It's a tall one. And as we said before, change need to start with the leaders. In fact, if we are to reignite engagement from people, they need to be inspired by their leaders. And that is difficult because pressure points are so many today on leaders. They've got a tough job. And so the first step of the engagement model really invites leaders to look deep within themselves and find resources they've not leveraged yet to really bring out the best from themselves in an authentic manner that really have people say, I can trust this guy, he's humble, he's vulnerable, he's real, and that leads to the second step of the model, which is bring out the best from the relationships between the leader and people around him or her, in fact. And the leader can do that first by being fully open to ideas of others, and then by helping others bring out their best and play at their best. And the leadership workbook in the book helps readers take concrete steps to make this happen.
We talk about being amenable to ideas of my subordinates. Is there a fear in Asia? Because we've been around for a while. Are Asians afraid of sharing their ideas? Well, with my leader will take that idea and claim it as his own.
That's a possibility, right? And there again, if that leader does not change himself or herself, then ideas will not come up, right? If that leader sticks to taking credit for his own or her own people's ideas, it's not going to fly, right?
Yeah. So it is being a game changer and having this sense of enthusiasm. We can't come in every day and say, woohoo, it's a wonderful day, especially when work is piling up and I need to meet my bottom line. My KPIs need to be met as well. Do I always have to come in with your sunny disposition, Jean-Francois?
Well, that goes into the next step of the engagement model, actually, which is about engaging the team, in fact, right? And that's really with the leadership team and then individual teams across the organization to think together. How can we adjust our way forward so that it's meaningful and exciting for everyone? In fact, and it may sound fluffy in my own mouth, but actually it's in the book there are lots of practical ideas to do that, right? So to find a way forward that really have people really put all their efforts in it, because what's in it for them is great, and then have the teams reflect about how they can play at their best together and bring out the best of every team. Yeah?
But when we talk about, earlier you said, perhaps one of the biggest drawbacks of Asian companies are the fact that those who have not embraced game change or change management is the paternalistic attitudes or demeanors of their leaders. But supposing a leader does embrace change, goes down to the organization, how do you ensure that this is sustainable? Again, alluding to the fact that we spoke to before, given that the tenure of leaders in high management positions is transient.
Yeah, well, tall question again.
Yes.
And a very important one, I think. Yes. And you do ensure sustainability of performance, of new performance, in fact, by making sure that the benefits are there for everybody to enjoy, in fact. And so in the way you design your strategy for sustainable high performance, you make sure that everyone across the organization and beyond, of course, get a very concrete benefit that are so worthy for them that they want to keep playing their best game for this to support. And at the same time, it's very important to trim decision-making processes and make sure that politics just go away and agility in the organization.
Is that increases. Even possible? Politics go away?
Yes, it's possible if leaders develop greater sense of self-worth or self-esteem in themselves first and their employees. And then people think, I'm good enough, I don't need to play politics. I like to say that if there is just one thing a leader should do at all times, that would be raise the self-esteem of each and every employee of the company, so people feel adequate and then don't need to fake their behaviors or be insecure about how can they bring their best.
In the moments that we have left, Jean-Francois, in your experience in Asia and with Asian companies, how often have they been amenable to your message?
Oh, well, I must say, Keith, that a number of clients with whom I've had the honor and the chance to work have done extremely well. I remember working a few years ago with a big multinational company in Thailand, actually, and going through the process, they've triggered in the next 2 years, actually, year-on-year growth of 15%, in a very slow market and amidst very tough competition, because people started to believe again in the possibilities to win bigger and win together, in fact, and they had these rewarding moments for everyone planned along the way. So we had a culture of winning and of celebrating the wins together that is still lasting today, in fact.
So if you want to ignite that fire in the basement, why don't you pick up a copy of Game Changers at the Circus, How Leaders Can Unleash Greatness in Their Organizations. It is a book by Jean-Francois Cousin. He is a change expert, and we were talking about engaging the disengaged in your workplace this morning. Jean-Francois, I wish we had more time. Say you'll come back and speak with us again.
Oh, by all means, be delighted to. Yeah, thanks, Keith, for...
Pleasure. Jean-Francois Cousin joined us this morning, the author of Game Changers at the Circus. You've been listening to The Breakfast Club on 938 Live. The 938 Live programming will continue in just a moment.